Let me ask you something. What if I told you that one of the simplest, smallest foods you can find in your pantry could completely change how your body handles metabolism, hunger, and even sleep? I'm talking about chia seeds. Yes, those tiny black specks that used to grow into novelty plants in the 90s. But here's the thing. Chia seeds aren't just a fad. They're a biochemical powerhouse. When eaten at night, their impact on your blood sugar, hydration, and gut health can be profound. You see, food isn't just calories, it's information. Every bite tells your body how to operate, how to store energy, and even how to repair while you sleep. So tonight we're going to talk about what happens when you eat chia seeds before bed, not as a miracle cure, but as a metabolic strategy. And after a week, you might be surprised by how your body responds. When we talk about blood sugar, most people immediately think of diabetes. But let me be clear. Everyone should be thinking about blood sugar, because whether you have diabetes or not, your blood glucose levels dictate how your metabolism functions, how much fat you store, how well you sleep, and how you feel the next morning. It's not just a diabetic issue, it's a metabolic issue. And chia seeds, tiny though they are, can make a surprisingly big impact on that system, especially when consumed at night. Now, what happens to your blood sugar overnight? Well, after dinner, your body begins processing the carbohydrates you've eaten, bread, pasta, rice, fruit, maybe even dessert. Those carbs are broken down into glucose, which enters your bloodstream. Your pancreas responds by releasing insulin, the hormone that helps move that glucose into cells to be used for energy. But here's the problem. If your meal was heavy in refined carbohydrates or sugars, that glucose rushes in too fast. Insulin spikes, and what goes up must come down. Within a few hours, blood sugar drops, often below baseline, and that can trigger hunger, restlessness, and even disrupted sleep. You wake up at 2 a.m., not because of stress or bad dreams, but because your blood sugar crashed. So how do chia seeds fit into this story? It's all about fiber and gel formation. When you soak chia seeds, or even just eat them with a bit of liquid, they form a thick, gelatinous coating. That gel slows down the digestive process. It physically delays how quickly your stomach empties and how fast carbohydrates are absorbed into the bloodstream. Think of it as putting a governor on your metabolism. Instead of a quick sugar rush, you get a slow, steady release of glucose that keeps your blood sugar stable for hours. This is crucial at night when you want your body to shift from a fed state dominated by insulin and energy storage to a fasting state dominated by repair, detoxification, and fat burning. But if your insulin stays high because of a late night snack or sugary dessert, that switch never flips. Your liver can't release fat for fuel, your cells can't regenerate efficiently, and your sleep quality plummets. Chia seeds help facilitate that transition. Soluble fiber in chia binds water and forms a viscous matrix in the gut. That slows glucose absorption and modulates the insulin response. Over time, your body learns to maintain a steadier glucose curve, which translates into fewer cravings, better energy, and improved metabolic flexibility. Your body's ability to shift smoothly between burning glucose and burning fat. Now, here's the biochemical nuance most people miss. When blood sugar is stable overnight, cortisol, your stress hormone, stays low. That's important because elevated nighttime cortisol not only disrupts sleep, but also promotes fat storage, especially around the midsection. Stable glucose equals stable cortisol, and stable cortisol equals better metabolic balance. It's a chain reaction, and it all starts with what you eat before bed. And there's another layer, the microbiome. Chia's soluble fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which in turn produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. Butyrate has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity, reduce inflammation, and even help regulate the genes that control glucose metabolism. So you're not just influencing blood sugar directly, you're also changing the gut ecosystem that helps manage it. This is what I mean when I say food is information. Every molecule of chia is sending a biochemical message to your gut, your liver, and your brain, saying, stay steady, don't overreact, keep things in balance. Compare that to what happens when you grab a cookie or a bowl of cereal before bed. You get a quick sugar surge, a big insulin hit, and then a crash. Your body goes from hyperglycemia to hypoglycemia in a few hours. Your brain senses that drop and sends a distress signal. Wake up, find food, restore glucose. You wake up groggy, maybe craving something sweet or starchy, and the cycle repeats the next day. Over time, that pattern can lead to insulin resistance, the root cause of metabolic syndrome, fatty liver, and type 2 diabetes. So let's be practical. If you mix a tablespoon or two of chia seeds with some almond milk or yogurt an hour before bed, you're giving your body a slow-release metabolic stabilizer. You'll digest your dinner more gradually, avoid those insulin spikes, and wake up with steady energy, instead of that heavy sugar crash fatigue. It's not a magic bullet, it's biochemistry working as intended. And remember, you can't cheat metabolism. Your body knows the difference between real, nutrient-dense food and processed junk. Chia seeds, with their combination of soluble fiber, omega-3 fats, and minerals like magnesium, send the right message: support stability, support recovery, support health. 1 week of that routine. Just 1 week, and you may notice the difference. Fewer night wakings, better morning energy, reduced cravings. Your body learns what it feels like to be metabolically balanced. And it all begins with the simple act of eating something small, natural, and profoundly intelligent. The chia seed at night. Let's talk about hunger. Not the kind of hunger that comes after a workout or skipping lunch, but that subtle, nagging urge to eat late at night when you're not really hungry. You know what I mean? You've finished dinner, maybe watched a little TV, and then suddenly there's that whisper in your brain, a little something sweet. That's not true hunger. That's biochemical confusion. And one of the most powerful tools to quiet that confusion, surprisingly, a spoonful or two of chia seeds. Now, hunger isn't just about willpower. It's about hormones, specifically two that work like a seesaw: ghrelin, which says, I'm hungry, and leptin, which says, I'm full. When these hormones are in balance, you eat when you need to and stop when you've had enough. But when your diet is high in refined carbohydrates and low in fiber, that balance collapses. Ghrelin stays elevated, leptin signaling gets distorted, and your brain starts to crave food, even when your body has plenty of energy stored. That's why you can feel starving right after a bowl of cereal or a sugary snack. The calories went in, but the satiety never arrived. Here's where chia seeds change the game. They contain an extraordinary amount of soluble fiber, about 10 grams per ounce, which is nature's slowest digesting nutrient. When mixed with liquid, chia forms a thick gel in your stomach that expands, triggering stretch receptors and sending a signal to your brain that says, we're full. But it doesn't stop there. That fiber also slows down the absorption of nutrients, stabilizing blood sugar and extending the feeling of fullness for hours. You're not just eating less, you're feeling satisfied longer. And that's crucial at night, because nighttime eating isn't about calories, it's about insulin and rhythm. When you snack late, you keep insulin levels elevated right when your body should be lowering them to enter a fat-burning, repair-focused state. You interrupt that natural circadian rhythm, which throws off not just metabolism, but also sleep hormones like melatonin. Eating chia before bed instead of high-sugar snacks helps prevent those late-night insulin surges. The slow digestion keeps your stomach occupied, your blood sugar steady, and your hunger hormones quiet. There's another mechanism at work, too. The omega-3 fatty acids in chia seeds. These fats, particularly alpha-linolenic acid ALA, have anti-inflammatory properties that improve the communication between your gut and your brain. That communication happens through the vagus nerve, and when it's healthy, your body knows how to interpret fullness signals accurately. Chronic inflammation from processed foods, seed oils, and sugar disrupts that pathway, making you feel hungry even when your energy stores are full. By adding chia seeds, you're essentially repairing the conversation between your gut and your brain. Now, I want to point out something most people overlook: texture and timing matter. When you consume chia seeds soaked in liquid, say in almond milk or yogurt, that gel texture slows eating. You can't gulp it down, you have to spoon it slowly. And that alone changes the neurochemistry of satiety. When you slow down, your gut hormones have time to signal your brain, and you naturally stop at enough. That's not psychology, that's physiology. Let's talk about cravings, because that's the real enemy of nighttime metabolism. Cravings aren't just about taste. They're a biochemical signal of imbalance. Often, late-night sugar cravings come from a drop in serotonin, the feel-good neurotransmitter. Chia seeds help here too. They contain tryptophan, an amino acid that the body converts into serotonin and melatonin. By supporting serotonin production, chia can help stabilize your mood and reduce those emotional or stress-driven urges to eat. It's not that you suddenly become disciplined, it's that your body finally stops sending mixed signals. Another benefit: that fiber-rich gel slows stomach emptying, meaning your digestive system stays gently active through the night, preventing sudden drops in blood glucose that can trigger hunger or restlessness. You wake up with a calm stomach and balanced appetite, not that hollow, shaky feeling that sends you running to coffee and pastries. Think about what happens when you replace that nightly cookie or bowl of cereal with chia pudding. You're not depriving yourself, you're retraining your metabolism. You're teaching your hormones, your gut, and your brain what real nourishment feels like. After just a few nights, the constant tug of war between "I should stop eating" and "I can't help it" starts to disappear. Your body begins to trust that food will come when it's needed, and in the right form. That's metabolic peace, something most modern eaters rarely experience. Now, some people might say, it's just chia seeds. How can something so small make such a difference? But that's the beauty of biochemistry. It's not about size, it's about signal. Chia seeds send a powerful message: slow down, absorb steadily, stay balanced. And when your body receives that message consistently, your hunger cues reset. You stop chasing food for comfort or stimulation. You eat because your body genuinely needs nourishment, and stop when it doesn't. So when you take chia seeds at night, you're not just curbing late-night cravings, you're reprogramming your metabolism. You're calming the hormones that drive overeating, stabilizing your blood sugar, supporting serotonin, and preparing your body for restful, restorative sleep. And when you wake up the next morning, the difference isn't just in your appetite, it's in your energy, your focus, and your mood. A small seed, yes, but one that tells your body an ancient truth: fullness isn't about quantity, it's about quality, balance, and timing. And chia seeds deliver all three in a single, elegant package. Hydration, it sounds simple, right? Drink water, stay healthy. But like most things in metabolism, it's not that simple. Hydration isn't just about how much water you drink, it's about how well your body retains and uses that water at the cellular level. You can drink 3 liters of water a day and still be dehydrated if your cells aren't holding on to it. And that's where chia seeds come in, because they don't just absorb water, they teach your body how to manage it intelligently. Let's start with the basics. Every cell in your body functions within a delicate balance of fluids and electrolytes, primarily sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium. This balance determines how your nerves fire, how your muscles contract, and how energy is generated inside the mitochondria. When hydration is off, even by a small margin, your metabolism slows, fatigue sets in, and your brain feels foggy. Now, here's the paradox: dehydration isn't always caused by a lack of water intake. It's often caused by poor water retention. When you eat chia seeds, they absorb up to 10 times their weight in water, forming a gel-like structure. Imagine millions of microscopic water balloons, each seed encapsulating fluid in a stable matrix of soluble fiber. When you consume this gel, it moves through your digestive tract slowly, releasing hydration gradually over several hours. It's like time-release water delivery. Instead of flooding your system all at once, it keeps a steady stream of moisture available to your tissues throughout the night. That's critical during sleep, when your body performs its most intense cellular maintenance, detoxification, tissue repair, and hormone synthesis, all processes that depend on adequate hydration. Now, what makes this especially important at night is that during sleep, your body naturally loses water through breathing and perspiration. You're fasting, not drinking, and yet your organs, particularly the liver and kidneys, are working hard to process metabolic waste. If you go to bed slightly dehydrated, you wake up more so, and your morning energy drops. You might even mistake that dehydration for hunger or caffeine withdrawal. By eating chia seeds before bed, you're essentially storing a reservoir of hydration inside your gut that continues to nourish you while you sleep. But hydration isn't just water, it's electrolyte balance. This is where most people miss the point. Water without electrolytes is like a battery without charge. It can't conduct energy properly. And the high-quality minerals in chia seeds, especially magnesium and calcium, help maintain that electric gradient across cell membranes. Magnesium in particular is the unsung hero of metabolism. It's responsible for over 300 enzymatic reactions, including those that produce ATP, your body's cellular energy currency. Yet more than half of adults are deficient in magnesium. So when you take chia seeds, you're not just getting water retention, you're getting electrolyte optimization. Let's go one layer deeper. The mucilaginous fiber in chia, that gel-forming structure, interacts with your intestinal lining, improving nutrient absorption. That includes not only water, but also electrolytes and trace minerals. When the gut barrier is healthy, your body retains what it needs and excretes what it doesn't. But when it's inflamed, from processed foods, alcohol, or chronic stress, it becomes leaky and minerals get wasted. Chia helps seal that barrier, improving intestinal hydration dynamics. Think of it as repairing the plumbing so the system can hold water again. There's also an interesting hormonal angle here. When you're dehydrated, your body releases a hormone called vasopressin. Vasopressin's job is to help retain water, but chronically high levels caused by repeated mild dehydration can also increase cortisol and insulin. That means dehydration indirectly promotes fat storage and insulin resistance. By maintaining hydration through the night with chia seeds, you reduce vasopressin activation and its downstream metabolic stress. You're not just drinking better, you're lowering stress at the hormonal level. Another fascinating point is how hydration affects glymphatic clearance, the brain's nightly cleaning system. When you sleep, cerebrospinal fluid washes through your brain tissue, removing waste products like beta amyloid and tau, proteins associated with neurodegeneration. That system depends on proper hydration. If your body is even slightly dehydrated, glymphatic flow slows and you wake up groggy, foggy, or with a headache. The steady hydration from chia consumption can support more efficient brain detox overnight, leading to clearer thinking and improved focus in the morning. And let's not forget performance. You might not think of nighttime as a time for performance, but recovery is performance. Athletes who maintain better hydration status overnight show faster muscle repair and reduced inflammation. Chia seeds, by keeping the hydration curve stable, support muscle glycogen restoration and electrolyte replenishment while you rest. That's why ancient Aztec messengers who ran hundreds of miles on foot carried chia seeds as their endurance food. They weren't chasing superstition. They were following biochemistry. So when you eat chia seeds at night, you're not just drinking smarter, you're hydrating at a cellular level. You're helping your body retain fluid, balance electrolytes, and support the hormonal and neurological systems that depend on that balance. It's not about guzzling gallons of water. It's about holding on to the water that matters. And in a world where so many people wake up tired, puffy, and dehydrated, this small habit can shift the entire system back toward equilibrium. The body doesn't just need fuel, it needs flow. And chia seeds, humble as they are, restore that flow, one hydrated cell at a time. You've heard the saying, you are what you eat. But that's not quite true. The real truth is, you are what your gut bacteria do with what you eat. And that distinction changes everything. Because the gut isn't just a tube for digestion, it's an entire ecosystem, a living, breathing community of microbes that dictate how you metabolize food, how your immune system responds, and even how your brain feels. Now, when it comes to nurturing that ecosystem, few foods are as profoundly effective as chia seeds. And when you eat them at night, their effects line up perfectly with your body's natural rhythms of repair and regeneration. Let's start with what chia seeds actually are. They're not just tiny sources of fiber, they're prebiotic fiber powerhouses. That means they don't just pass through your system like roughage. They actually feed the beneficial bacteria in your gut, the ones responsible for producing short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, acetate, and propionate. These compounds are the language of the gut, the chemical messengers that tell your intestinal cells how to function, when to divide, and how to maintain that critical barrier between the inside of your gut and the rest of your body. But butyrate, in particular, is a superstar. It fuels the cells lining your colon, keeping them strong and healthy. When those cells are well fed, they form a tight, resilient wall that prevents toxins and undigested food particles from leaking into your bloodstream, a condition known as leaky gut. When that barrier breaks down, your immune system goes on high alert, triggering inflammation not just in the gut, but throughout your entire body. Chronic inflammation, as I often say, is the root cause of nearly every modern disease, from obesity to depression to type 2 diabetes. So by simply feeding your gut bacteria with chia fiber, you're reducing systemic inflammation at its source. Now think about the timing. At night, your gut enters a state of rest and repair, much like your brain does during deep sleep. This is when the gut microbiome recalibrates, repopulates, and produces the short-chain fatty acids that influence everything from insulin sensitivity to mood regulation. When you consume chia seeds before bed, you're essentially giving your gut microbes the slow-release energy they need to do their job overnight. The gel-like consistency of chia slows digestion, allowing the fiber to be fermented gradually, exactly how the microbiome likes it. That fermentation process also promotes regularity, and not in the laxative sense that people usually think of. Regularity is about rhythm, about your digestive system moving with precision and predictability. Chia's soluble fiber adds bulk and moisture to stool, making it easier to pass without straining. But more importantly, it teaches your gut to operate on schedule. Over time, this restores what scientists call the gut motility clock, the pattern of contractions and relaxations that move food efficiently through your intestines. A regular gut is a calm gut, and a calm gut means less bloating, less discomfort, and better absorption of nutrients. And here's a fascinating twist. The gut communicates directly with the brain through what's called the gut-brain axis, a two-way biochemical highway connecting your enteric nervous system to your central nervous system. When your gut is inflamed, your brain feels it as anxiety, brain fog, or irritability. When your gut is nourished, your brain feels clarity and calm. By feeding your microbiome with chia, you're literally stabilizing that gut-brain dialogue. You're teaching your nervous system to relax. And that's one reason why many people report deeper sleep and improved mood after incorporating chia into their nightly routine. There's another layer to this story: bile and fat metabolism. The soluble fiber in chia binds to bile acids in the intestine. These are compounds your body makes from cholesterol to digest fats. When fiber binds to bile, it pulls it out of circulation, forcing your liver to use more cholesterol to make new bile. The result? Lower circulating LDL cholesterol levels and a cleaner digestive tract. It's like sweeping the intestinal floor each night before you go to bed. And let's not overlook the role of hydration here. Remember, chia can absorb many times its weight in water, which means that as it travels through your digestive tract, it retains moisture. That's a big deal for gut health, because a hydrated gut is a happy gut. Dry, compacted stool is one of the most common causes of constipation, and it's entirely preventable when your diet includes water-binding fibers like those in chia. So what you're really doing when you eat chia seeds at night is giving your gut a toolkit for self-repair. You're providing fiber for microbial fermentation, water for smooth transit, omega-3 fats for reducing inflammation, and minerals like magnesium for muscle relaxation, all while you sleep. You wake up lighter, clearer, and more balanced, not because of some miracle cleanse, but because your gut microbiome had the resources it needed to do its job properly. And that's the heart of real nutrition. Not pills, not detox teas, not quick fixes, but feeding the systems that feed you. Your gut is the command center of your health. And chia seeds are one of the simplest ways to keep that command center running smoothly. Tiny seeds, yes, but they carry an ancient biological intelligence that modern science is only beginning to understand. Feed them to your body, and your microbiome will thank you in the language of balance, regularity, and resilience. Sleep is not just rest. It's your body's nightly metabolic reset. It's when your hormones recalibrate, your brain detoxifies, and your cells repair damage from the day. But here's the irony. Most people sabotage that process without realizing it. Not with caffeine or blue light, but with food. Late night sugar, alcohol, and processed snacks trigger hormonal chaos that disrupts sleep architecture and undermines the very restoration your body is trying to perform. Chia seeds, on the other hand, can flip that script. When eaten at night, they don't just sit in your stomach, they actively support the biochemical environment that promotes deep restorative sleep and hormonal balance. Let's start with one of the most overlooked sleep-regulating molecules, insulin. When you eat something sugary before bed, insulin spikes, forcing glucose into cells and preventing the release of fat for fuel. Once insulin drops again in the middle of the night, your blood sugar may crash, prompting cortisol, your stress hormone, to rise and wake you up. It's that 3 a.m. alertness for no reason, the restless turning, the vivid dreams. Chia seeds solve that problem by slowing digestion and stabilizing blood glucose levels. The soluble fiber forms a gel that releases glucose gradually, keeping insulin low and steady throughout the night. Your body stays in fat-burning mode, your cortisol remains quiet, and your brain gets the uninterrupted rest it needs. But let's go deeper, because sleep is not just about energy balance, it's also about neurotransmitter balance. Inside those tiny chia seeds is an amino acid called tryptophan, the same precursor used by your body to produce serotonin and melatonin, the two key hormones that regulate mood and sleep. Serotonin promotes calm and emotional